Now it seems to be stable, but still is very big, okay? Because in fact some action has been taken, some gases has been phased out. So this is to say that when some action you take, there could be some benefit. The point is that maybe in this case it was easy to make from one gas to the other. It was not that difficult compared to other transformations that are needed. Eutrophication, maybe this is something that you don't know that well. You know, anyone knows what is eutrophication? No. There are some substances that were used to be present into the detergent, like nitrate and phosphate, that actually, when they go to the water, underneath water, and maybe come to a lake or the water, they are great nutrient for some type of seaweeds, but just some. So some seaweeds are very happy. Yes, we eat a lot. Wow, wow, wow. And they grow, but they grow a lot. And what happened? It happened that, like here we are in China, Yunnan province. Some plantations are happy, but then the oxygen doesn't filter, doesn't go into underneath water, so the fish die. The fish need oxygen, okay? Another thing, so they are disturbing anyhow the equilibrium of the ecosystem. Acidification, again here I put an image, and it's very corroded, okay? Because someone is using some paint. Because into the paint there are some volatile oxic compound, or some, let's say, some substances that go up to the atmosphere. They can be combined and they become acid, and then the rain collect those and concentrate those over the drop of the rain, and then they come down by us again, and then they may go on the statue and they corrode this, or even into the cultivation. They could be very damaging for the cultivation and something like this. Acidification has even some serious problem in terms of killing coral reefs, and even the coral reefs are very important to the equilibrium of the ecosystem. There is the problem of toxicity, and here I would like you, if you guess, this is coming, the data from the International Energy Agency, a report of 2016, how many premature deaths per year in the world are determined by air pollution caused by a human being worldwide, 1 year. 6.5 million. 6.5 million. This come to take my mind to some terrible number of the past. It's like, in my perception, this is like really a world war. And I don't know how we are not aware about that, how we don't react about this, okay? Or maybe I know, because there are strong lobbies that don't want that this is stopped. Maybe some media are not so free, to tell us what are the things, and maybe not all the institutions are free to say what is happening. Okay. But these are the numbers, so it's really, even this is quite frightening. The waste, today we actually, in terms of municipal solid waste, we are producing 1.3 billion tons a year. I don't know what this is, but I take down to person is 1.2 kilogram per person a day of waste in average worldwide. And the forecast for the future is that this is going to be in 2025 up to 1.4 and 2.2 billion tons a year, which is really a lot. Of course, this is not the same all around the world. You can see what is darker is where per capita is producing more waste, and guess where this is? In US, in Norway, in New Zealand, and some other places maybe they don't have anything to waste. Here someone was speaking about the overshoot day. Who was speaking about that? Is the day in which?
It is the day in which we have used so much resources which would the Earth would need 1 year for to resist.
To reproduce. Okay, we
Yeah,
have
to
used
reproduce.
the resources that are available.
Yeah.
We cannot use more. If not, this won't be there. So we are using to the level that allowed us to go on in using those resources. And in 2011, this happened the 2nd of August. And this is the earliest calculated since this calculation was made in 1970. And you can see that in Australia we are using lots of earth every year. So this is because it depends from part to part of the world. China, for example, is using, but you can look that it's not. We are thinking that China is many times the most polluting place and blah blah. That is not the point. They are polluting for our benefit, for the product that we are using here. So we are polluting, not they. Maybe they are breathing the bad air that is used for our clothes or our car or our mobile phone or something like this, okay? So, even though they are consuming more, even per capita nowadays, than what is within the limits. India is not doing this, and of course other. So if we speak about environmental action, what we have to do is, so we have to, on one side we have to preserve resources, so we have to use less and use those that are more renewable, okay? Or to make plastic or to make energy is not renewable compared to, for example, some biopolymers that comes from the cultivation of corn or the wood, if it's well cultivated, that can regrow or something like this. And on the other side, in terms of output, prevent pollution. So less emission and more biocompatible emissions. So that can be, they are biodegradable materials or they are absorbed without the damaging effect to the nature. Socio-ethical sustainability. So in the Rio and Johannesburg summit, it was introduced the equity principle. So every person in a fair distribution of resources has the right to the same environmental space, i.e., to the same availability of global natural resources. So that principle was introduced, and actually, I like I find more interesting a definition that was present into a document produced a few years ago by the European Union. Sometimes they are doing something good. Speaking about social equity and cohesion, so cohesion together with that, so the promotion of a democratic, socially inclusive, cohesive, healthy, safe and just society with respect for fundamental rights and cultural diversity that creates equal opportunities and combat discrimination in all its forms. So speaking about social equity, but combining this with the cohesion of the society, which basically is a social innovation that is needed to achieve this. And what is the state of the art right now in terms of distribution of resources? Actually, to give a very draft idea of that is that 20% of the population is using the 80% of the resources, and that the 80% of the population is using only 20% of the resources. This is to give you, an overall idea. And into that we have really some extremes. And here a picture of, I show you something that gives you an idea. Here, the size of you recognize this is a world map, but the size of the territory shows the proportion of the world population. So how many people are there compared to other nations, okay? And this other actually is showing, the territory show the proportion of carbon dioxide emission, CO2 emission, that is causing global warming. And you see Africa is, shrink, and US, for example, is that big and so on. So this is really showing, of course, carbon dioxide is, for example, very linked to the production of energy and other things and so on, or using the cars and so on. So when speaking about socio-ethical the action, what are the action? We should, first of all, eradicate poverty. This is, like the key point, and you're first up to there. Then the promotion of principle of rules and rules of democracy, promotion of human rights and freedom, achievement of peace and security, access to information, training, employment, respect for cultural diversity, racial identity, and so on. These are the issues, and they are very big and very important. You will see that into what we are going to design, there will be way into which this can be tackled. Okay, not at the global level, but in a way in which we are designing a certain product and service system. Okay, so maybe they will not have the same wording. They will have something a bit different, because it has to be at the level of the designer possibility of act. So what I can do as a designer, okay? I cannot promote the principle of democracy maybe, okay? Maybe that is something, but I can do maybe something to induce or